no. Even
I just got it cut 2 weeks ago.
It looks nice.
So why'd you say the heck?
2 weeks ago was still in quarantine, sir.
He
Is that
came in my
official?
house.
cut it himself.
He came to my house.
I'm
He
turning
came to my
Wow. No. Property still no. No. I'm going to do the last run through for the couple of people I have noted as missing, see if they joined in while I was getting everybody. And then we'll get started here.
Mackenzie, are you good for minutes?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Kathleen, can you test sharing your screen? All right, we are live on YouTube. And we're recording again. So we're ready whenever you are.
Appreciate it. I just finished up taking the roll. I'll make the announcement of what that is when we get to that section. But I hereby call to order the 27th meeting of the 62nd session of the Student Senate on April 22nd at 6:38 p.m. So with that, and Odalis is here, right? Gabe?
Yes.
We do have a member of the Supreme Court, which is the Chief Justice, if I remember the position correct.
Yes.
To swear in, and so we will jump to that section in order to get her sworn into office.
So before you do that, so just so everyone knows, our outgoing Chief Justice graduates this year, and then her term on the court comes to an end. Kat, so the court a few weeks ago elected Odalis to be the next Chief Justice. And so in order for her to continue in that role, Michael will swear her in so that she will officially become the Chief Justice. So let's pull that sucker up.
I've got her unmuted. If we pull that up, we'll get run through.
Oh. Can you see it?
Yes, I can
Yes.
see it.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Odalis.
No
If
problem.
you'll repeat after me, we'll get you sworn in. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I hereby swear
I, Odalis Asensio, hereby swear
that I will faithfully serve
that I will faithfully serve
the students of Wichita State University,
the students of Wichita State University,
act in accordance with
act in accordance with
the Constitution of the student body,
the Constitution of the student body,
and fulfill all duties and responsibilities
and fulfill all duties and responsibilities
required of the office of
required of the office of Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
There you go. I will,
I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the student body
the Constitution of the student body
of Wichita State University.
of Wichita State University.
Congratulations. I shake your hand, but I
Thank
can't do that
you.
through the screen.
Virtual shake.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Odalis. With that, we'll move on to section 4, approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections to be noted for last week's minutes? If you do have a correction you would like noted, please raise your hand and we'll get to you in the order they are raised. Seeing none, we will adopt the minutes unamended. Moving into section 5, approval of the agenda. Is there anybody wishing to add any last minute items to the agenda before we finalize and move forward? President Miller.
I would like to add SB-62-123 to the agenda, please. It is Emeritus status for Student Body Vice President Michael Berth.
Seeing as it is an emeritus status, that's kind of self-explanatory, so I won't ask you to go into further detail, but I will now ask, well, technically we changed it up. I don't have to get a vote for it to be added. It's just added. Right, Gabe?
That's correct. You can just add it.
So we'll add that one as item E under new business, which was SB-62-123. Thank you, Madam President. Anyone else wishing to add an item to tonight's agenda? All right, seeing none, we shall consider the agenda as adopted. If there are any changes later on, it will have to be done with a 2/3 consent of this body. So with that, we'll now move into section 6, public forum, and our newly appointed Chief Justice has asked to speak, so I will turn the floor over to her. As soon as I can find your name to unmute you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, everyone. I just wanted to say hi. I think I've worked with most of you already. And just wanted to congratulate you all for a job well done. I'm sad to see some of you go. Obviously, we have a couple of positions open on the court. I want to thank Dr. Granata, Kat, and Ben for all of their hard work and their dedication. And Dr. Austin, too, we're really going to miss having you there next year. But I'm really excited to work with Nancy and get the ball rolling. So we have 2 open justice positions, and we have 2 faculty member positions that we have to fill. I don't know how easy it's going to get to, how easy it's going to be to get a faculty position filled. We had a really hard time finding a second faculty member this past session, and we were all kind of working it pretty hard. So if you guys know any professors, any faculty members that you believe would be someone that we could lean on for support, please reach out to them. If they have any questions about the court specifically, obviously you can send them to Gabe and Nancy, but I'm there as a source as well. And kind of just also wanted to mention to think about the way that you're speaking of the court when you're presenting these opportunities to other students and your constituents. We don't really want to market it as something that is easy to do, or you just kind of step in and it's whatever, because then it will be treated that way. We just wanted to, obviously we are all working on making the court a fully fleshed out body, just like the Senate is and just like the executive office is. So just wanted to throw that out there. If any of you have any suggestions or any questions, the door is always open. And if you have questions now, I'm willing to take whatever I can answer.
If you do have a question for our presenter, please raise your hand and we'll get to you in the order that they are raised. All right. Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming and speaking with us tonight.
Thank you, everyone.
And then Gabe, I don't have anybody else that reached out. Is that correct?
No, sir.
Public forum. So with that, we'll close public forum and move into section 7, officer reports. And to my knowledge, they've been submitted to the record. Unless, Madam President, you wanted to speak? Just confirming whether it was submitted or not. All right. If you do have any questions about those reports, do reach out to the individuals. They'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have about them. So we'll move now into section 8. Item A, student advocates.
Okay, thanks,
You have the
Michael.
floor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I will go ahead and submit my full report to the record as well, but I did just want to speak to it and speak to you all. Dang, I like the gallery view, but I can't see everybody. It's okay. Just wanted to say thanks and good job to everybody right now in this time. And I'm really proud of everyone for getting through it and for sticking through. I'm sad to say that this is the last meeting. So I just wanted to say my goodbyes and wish everybody well as we move forward. In regards to my position and the report, I'm still planning on working over the next couple of weeks. So I'll be continuing on some initiatives and then also just transitioning to the 63rd session with whomever that the next student advocate may be. And so there's a lot of things that can still progress into the next session. So I'm looking forward to that. If you guys have any questions, I'm open to it, but that's all I have.
If you do have a question for the student advocate, please raise your hand and we'll get to you in the order they are raised. Crystal, you had a point of order?
It's just a point of personal privilege. Could you speak up slightly more, Vice President Burke? I'm having trouble hearing you, but have found that it's only your end, you when you speak, not the other speakers. So
you would like me to speak more clearly or?
Speak it up, louder.
Louder, got it. Just let me know when I hit the right volume.
That is great. The perfect volume.
All right. I will maintain this volume for the rest. At least try to. If I do go down, let me know and I'll get to you. Any other questions? I know that wasn't a question for the student advocate, but. Seeing none, we'll move. The rest of the reports have been submitted to the record. And I do encourage all of you to go and review those and reach out to the respective individuals with any questions you may have regarding any topics that may be within there. So with that, we'll move past section 9, appointments, seeing as there are none, into section 10, unfinished business. Item A, SB-62-114, Continuity of Government and State of Association Emergency Act. And we have tabled this one a couple times, and there were a few recent amendments, and so I will. Here you, Aaron. I'm going to give the floor to the author to talk about the couple adjustments they made.
Yes.
Most recently, Aaron.
Hello. So, let me just a moment, please. I know that I looked over what Senator Madden had sent me regarding kind of what he specifically wanted to see. So I added it in a few spots, specifically, if I can find it here. I believe under section 3, which was the executive branch. My bad. Oh, specifically when it came to 3.1.1.2 on line 58. The president may only change sections this way if the section itself contains a statement saying that it may be changed during an association state of emergency. So essentially, the Senate now has to go through and amend certain bylaws and statutes so that if it has to contain a clause saying that when a state of emergency is in effect, that the bylaw or statute that gets temporarily suspended has to contain this section in it. So then under the section 4, I apologize. Yeah, section 4, under what the emergency legislative council is, there is a similar clause. On line 97, it is spelled incorrectly. The word temporarily, my bad. We'd have to get that fixed. That it has to contain, the bylaw or statute in question has to contain that clause as well. I believe those are the major changes that were made. I don't know if anyone, I don't know if Senator Madden has anything else that's in there that he saw, but.
Senator Madden, any additional?
He says no.
No, I don't have any more comments to add for this one. As far as like the content, I mean, I'll speak in debate, but.
Well, I mean, just about the changes.
Oh, as in like, am I speaking in debate at this point or?
Oh, no. This is to help, for anybody that may have not had the opportunity to see the changes that were made by both Senator Mounts and yourself for the most recent version that they saw to this one. If there was any additional that you wanted to talk about that particular change.
No, I think Aaron covered it all.
Thank you, Senator Madden. So with that, I will open the floor to questions, if there are any, about the bill itself, the changes, or anything of that nature before we move on. All right, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and move into the debate period on this item. Seeing as it is, it's, what is it, technical fourth read, but still the second read. So anyone wishing to debate on this item at this time? Senator Madden, you had noted that you had some desire to speak in debate, and so I will go to you first. Senator Madden.
Yeah. So I know that we've sort of sent this one through the ringer as far as how much we've postponed it. I have gone in the course of this bill's amendments have gone from being like, no, we should not vote for this, to thinking that this is a good solution. I think that the way that it's set up right now, and I might be reiterating a little bit, but the way that it's set up right now means that there has to be specific clauses in the statutes of the bylaws that we're writing, or that we're suspending when we do these orders. And I think that that is really, really good. Another thing that I think that's good that I saw Aaron put in there is that the president can start the emergency session, but then the emergency legislative council has to assemble in 24 hours and then approve that. And if they don't approve it, then you don't go into session. I think that's another good check on the entire process. So I think overall, I mean, right now, there's still more work to be done, in the sense that what still has to happen after we pass this is that the 63rd session has to go forward and start adding in those specific clauses. Because right now, if you went into emergency session tomorrow, you couldn't change anything because there's nowhere in the journal that says that you can change it. So that opens up work for the 63rd session to have, you know, longer conversations where they don't have a legislative timeline of like, they have to get this done at this meeting or anything like that. So it allows everybody to have those conversations more thoroughly and figure out what sorts of things do we need to be prepared for and create exceptions for. So I think this is a really good solution, and I applaud Aaron for working on it, and I would encourage everyone to vote yes.
Anyone else wishing to speak in debate on this item? All right. Seeing none, I did just admit somebody in, so let me change their attendance.
Yeah, that was Senator Lopesky.
That way our voting numbers will be accurate. So with that, and debate has now been closed as there is no further indicated, we'll move into the voting period. All those in favor, please click yes. All those opposed, please click no. Any abstentions, go slow. See no further changes with the votes. This item has passed with its simple majority requirement, receiving a total of 19 in favor, 0 against, and 11 abstentions. With that, we'll now move into item B, SB-62-116, Legislative Agenda Rework Act. Seeing as this is was also tabled, if there are any additional questions before we get started, we'll get to those before we move into the debate. If you do have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get to you in the order they are raised. Seeing none, we'll move into debate on this item. Is anyone wishing to debate at this time? Seeing no indication that somebody wishes to debate, we'll move out of debate and into the voting period. All those in favor of this bill, which is the legislative agenda rework, please click yes. Any opposed? No. Any abstentions? Go slower. Seeing no additional fluctuation in the voting, this item did require a simple majority to pass, which was 13, and it received a total of 8 in favor, 9 against, and 13 abstentions, and thus this item will fail. That brings us to item C, SB-62-117, Emeritus Status Record Adjustment Act. Seeing as this is its second read, if there are no additional questions, we'll move into the debating period. If you do have a question, please raise your hand and we'll get to you in the order they are raised. Senator Zacharias.
I'm sorry, this is the debating period, correct?
So this is additional questions, seeing as we're moving into the second read on this item. So any additional questions that you may like to have answered before we move into debate. But if you do have a debate, we'll get to you first as soon as we get into the debating period.
Okay, withdrawing my hand for questioning.
So with that, are there any questions before moving into the debating period? Seeing no hands, Senator Zacharias, you have the floor for your debate.
So I'm speaking in favor of this bill because this way our emeritus status actually means something and it carries over more than 1 week. So I'm going to motion that we pass this bill by unanimous consent of the Senate.
It does not require a second. It just requires no one to say no. So I'm going to clear, or they lowered their hands. So if you do object, raise your hand. If not, this shall pass. Seeing no hands, SB-62-11.
I think I saw a hand go up.
I see a no now. So I will take that no as an objection. And we'll now, I'm going to clear that. Thank you. So since it has been objected, we have to move into the vote. So all those in favor, please click yes. All those opposed, no. Any abstentions, go slower. Thank you for catching that, Gabe.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, seeing no additional fluctuations in the voting, SB-62-117 has passed the simple majority requirement, receiving a total of 22 in favor, 0 against, and 8 abstentions. That will bring us to item D, R-62-012, resolution to request an alternative grading scale for the spring 2020 semester. So this was introduced last time and then tabled to this time as it didn't receive enough votes to counter the resolutions go to the second read in one of our statutes. So that being said, if there are any questions for the author, please raise your hand now and we'll get to those before we move into debate. Seeing no hands, we'll move directly into the debating period. Anyone wishing to debate, please raise your hand now and we'll get to you in the order they are raised. Senator Webb.
With a motion to table indefinitely.
Does require a second, I believe.
It does.
If you would like the second, please click yes.
Oh, wait, I'm so sorry. Never mind, I rescind that. I'm sorry, I was confusing different bills.
So you'd like to withdraw your table indefinitely?
Yes, my apologies.
62012. Do you have a debate on this item?
No.
Seeing as the motion table was withdrawn, we'll move to our next. Senator Zacharias, you have the floor.
So after talking about this bill last week and going over all of the options that were presented by the author, I think the best option for students at WSU would to have an adjusted grading system, to have still letter grades so that it appeases a lot of different degree programs that students must do, but have those letters be adjusted to be more lenient to help students who have been affected by this pandemic. So that's just what I am wanting. I do want to hear other senators' feedback before I make a motion on this. So currently not making a motion, that's just where I stand.
Thank you, Senator Zacharias. Senator Flores.
Okay, so I actually received an email from a student who told me that she really would prefer an alternative grading scale, as Senator Zacharias just mentioned. And I have only heard support for the universal pass or an adjusted ABC system because it is what would help students the most. And I spoke with members of CAPS, and they were talking about how there are students who are just having to withdraw or choose the no credit option, and it's just really hurting them just because online learning is just not for them, and they didn't really have a choice in choosing whether to be online or not. It was just sort of like forced on them. I mean, just like it was for professors. And so a lot of students are really, really, really struggling. And the support that I've seen has been for an adjusted ABC, like an adjusted grading system, as Senator Zacharias mentioned, or a universal pass. And I just kept it the way that it was because I was, one, unsure if it would have support from the Senate if we were to change it. And also just because I wrote it like very quickly early on and didn't have the chance to like adjust it, and just thought this was a good starting point. So I'm completely open to changing it. And if someone would like to make a motion to amend it, I am open to that.
Thank you, Senator Flores. Senator Thomas.
Hey, so I've been in contact with a lot of freshman students lately who've said they've been struggling with this transition, mostly because, you know, they're new to the whole college caliber of courses. And a lot of the feedback I've been getting is that it would be easier to have something like a pass-fail kind of grading system, but for it to also be optional, because there are also some students who worry about how that'll reflect on their transcript with pass or fail classes instead of like an A, B, C, and so on. So if it were like an optional solution that you could opt in or opt out of that grading system. I think that would help a lot of my constituency with their academic concerns. And that's all I have to say on it.
You, Senator Thomas. Any other debate on this item?
Can I ask a quick question for Senator Flores or any others? Is this supposed to look at just addressing it for the spring semester COVID-19 scenario, or is this looking at beyond that, just the new norm of what you're recommending?
Senator Flores.
I mean, I just wanted to start small in like the hopes that maybe like things would not need it and it would just be like unneeded for future semesters. But yeah, my focus was just on resolving like the current issue, and I didn't really think ahead that far for the other semesters, especially because it would not be the 60-second sessions like sort of jurisdiction anymore, is where I was coming from.
Okay. Because I think with the going to the same thought that I shared last week with another resolution, knowing that tonight's the last day of this session, I would also recommend and or advise to table indefinitely, which would suspend it for this session. And then since you were reelected for the next session, potentially reintroducing to give the 63rd a little more jurisdiction over this.
Senator Thomas, did you still have your hand up, or do you have another debate?
No, that was it for me.
Senator Flores.
Oh, sorry, that was just left up from last time. My bad.
Not a problem. President Miller, you have something to add to this conversation?
Yeah, I just wanted to share with you all. I'm not sure if you all are aware, but the decision has already been made to allow an alternative grading scale for students for the rest of this semester. And I don't remember the date off the top of my head that students have until they can make that decision. I think it's after grades have been posted. But anywho, it's an alternative grading scale of credit or no credit, which is the exact same thing as pass fail. And it's an opt-in program class by class. I know that some programs have been notifying their students of, hey, you shouldn't do credit, no credit. You shouldn't opt in for that for this class because of accrediting reasons and whatnot, but there already is a different grading scale option out there for students that the university has already approved, and it is an opt-in program class by class. So I just wanted you all to be aware of that is something that's already been implemented.
Thank you for that information, President Miller. Senator Ratcliffe.
I was just going to echo what the president had said and say basically that I was aware of that as well, and that I wanted to make a motion to table this bill on that basis.
All right, so seeing as this is our last meeting, it can't really be tabled except for tabled indefinitely, which would kill it in its entirety, which would technically be the same as voting against it. If you would like to table this indefinitely, is that what I'm understanding?
That is my intention, yes.
So it does require a second to do so. Senator Lepetsky with the second. I don't remember the vote requirement off the top of my head for that one, Gabe, do you?
It's one, it's debatable, and then two, it's just a majority.
Just a simple majority. Thank you. So seeing as it is a debatable item, is there anyone wishing to debate on tabling this indefinitely? Seeing as it is your motion, Senator Ratcliffe, you have the right to speak first.
Okay, well, I guess I would simply say, basically to echo what the president already said, it is a class-by-class basis. Everybody has the right to make a decision on what they feel is best for them, for their specific class. I feel that if we were to pass this motion now, that it could potentially undermine any students that were already doing well and that have continued to do well in the class, and the hard efforts that they may have already put forth before any issues were going on. And so, yeah, that's basically the basis for my motion.
Thank you, Senator Ratcliffe. Senator Zacharias.
So I'm going to be debating against this. While we do have the credit and no credit system, a lot of our students in specific areas can't use that. They can't do credit or no credit. And so this amended grading system that would make A's and B's easier to achieve for students would help even more students on top of those who are helped by the credit and no credit system. And while we can table it until the 63rd session, I was thinking what would be most beneficial is having the 62nd session say this is what we want, and then possibly even the 63rd session saying this is what we want. So we have two senates agreeing that this is something our students deserve. So even though we just have one day left of the session, I still think that it is important that we do with this day what we can.
Thank you, Senator Zacharias. Senator Flores.
Okay, so I disagree with the sentiment about how credit and no credit, like I do not think that is sufficient, which is why I was still continuing this. Like I don't think credit and no credit is like a sufficient answer, because there are literally students who completely lost their jobs, have no source of income, or are homeless, because I spoke to CAPS, and CAPS has told me how they are overwhelmed with the number of students who like literally just had no notice and then became homeless, and how they're trying to deal with those students and trying to find housing options for them. And so I think that definitely hinders the ability. And while some students have been able to handle the sort of adversity that the situation has brought, not everyone is in that position. And although some students are continuing to do well, it's not true for all students, especially those who are most disadvantaged. And I think we should keep those in mind, that where we are is not where everyone else is. Not everyone else has like a home to go back to at the end of the day, where they can be on their laptop or use Wi-Fi, or they're in like a crowded house with like all of their siblings. Like someone told me about how they were going to like class by like hiding in the bathroom because it was the only private quiet space that they had in their house. So I think that we definitely need to create an alternative system. Like I'm aware that the credit no credit option exists, but I don't think it's sufficient. But I don't think where this resolution is right now is like written in a way that would be beneficial to those students. And so I'm supporting tabling it indefinitely, and then we can just go through this like next week and just sort of when there's time to fix it and to make it impactful to those students who are most disadvantaged.
You, Senator Flores. So as a reminder, it wouldn't be we that are going through it because the session is going to end. It'll be the 63rd that might pick it up if they choose to do so. With that, Senator Day, you had your hand up.
Okay, I have a point of information. President Miller indicated that there wasn't really much of a difference between pass, fail, and credit, no credit. I wasn't quite clear about that. I would like to believe there was a substantive difference, but I'm not really sure what that is. Can someone explain that?
President Miller.
So during the town hall on the 16th, I think. I asked Provost Muma if there was a difference, because I know that this was a concern and question that a lot of students had was, is there a difference between pass, fail, credit, no credit? And he said in that town hall that there is no difference, because pass, fail would grant you credit for the class, or no credit, which is the exact same thing that credit, no credit does. It's just two different ways to identify how you're getting that credit. So there isn't a difference.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
What happened? Senator Zacharias, you have a point of order?
I just had a correction to that. There is a difference between credit and no credit and pass and fail. Pass, fail is 50 and above pass, 50 and 49 and below fail. Credit, no credit is you only get credit if you get a 70 or above. So there is quite a bit of difference on how our students would be affected by that, because one is more lenient than the other.
Thank you, Senator Zacharias. Senator Lepetsky.
Also, just to echo a previous senator as well, but also the difference if you're looking into getting into a certain type of degree, like from pre-nursing to nursing or pre-social work to social work, you should choose to have a letter grade, because you need to have it on certain requirements in your transcript. So if you're going into a program, I've been like strongly suggested by my professors to not pick the credit, no credit, because it doesn't show the actual percentage on your transcript then. That's all I had.
Thank you, Senator Lepetsky. Any other points of debate on tabling this item indefinitely? Senator Lepetsky, did you have another debate? Or is that your hand just left up?
No, do I have to press it again to put it down?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my bad, sorry.
That's right. So if there are no further debates, we'll move into the voting period on this item. And
you're actually just voting on the
tabling.
Table indefinitely, yeah.
Indefinitely.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so just want to make sure that when you meant by this item, you meant the motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I realized that as soon as I said this item that I should probably explain. But yeah, to make sure that everybody knows what we are voting on, we are voting to table this indefinitely. So all those in favor, please click yes. All against, no. Any abstentions, go slower. Seeing as we've reached everybody in attendance voting, this item to table indefinitely has failed its simple majority requirement, receiving only 9 in favor, 11 against, and 10 abstentions. At which point we'll move back into discussions or debate, not discussion, on the item itself. Is there anyone wishing to debate on this resolution at this time? Senator Flores.
Yeah, so I just really want to impart like the importance of this. There like are students just like in really like horrible situations that like a lot of us could not like even imagine being in, and just because some people have been doing well and thriving doesn't mean that we should let like the people who are falling through the cracks just like continue to slip through. I also think that while there is concern about like if we create the letter grading system, it might disincentivize students from trying harder, but I think a lot of students are trying very hard already. And by the time that like this goes, like by the time that the like university considers this and like if they do decide to go along with it, there won't be that much time to like procrastinate and not do assignments. We only have like a few weeks of school left. And so it would almost assuredly, like even if worst case scenario, everyone stops caring about their grades because there's an adjusted system, it wouldn't matter because there would only be like, I would assume like probably like a week of school work left. So I don't think it would be that big of a deal. Plus, even if students are disincentivized from like trying harder, I think I would be rather taking that. Like I would rather take that option that like some students just decide to stop care rather than students who are first generation low income, have like minority backgrounds, are forced to either spend like thousands more dollars retaking classes or just being forced to stop attending college. So I think that we have to do like weighing the pros and cons of each one. And I definitely think that my perspective is very clear on which one would be worse. So yeah, I hope you vote yes. If there are any amendments, I would be open to hearing them. And if anyone has anything that they'd like to discuss, I think now is the time. It's really important. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator Flores. Senator Zacharias.
So I do have an amendment. I move to amend line 18 to substitute that the 62nd session Senate strongly encourages the university to amend the current letter grading system, making A's 80 and above, B's 65 to 79, and C's 50 to 64 instead of the widely used grading system. And I also sent that in the group chat for whoever has to make that amendment typed out.
So it will require a second. If you would like to second, please click yes. I see Senator Mounts with the second. Dave, if you want to go ahead and make that one.
Yes, I'm working. Hopefully this works.
So with that, we'll go ahead and clear everybody and we'll start. If you would like to debate on this amendment, go ahead and raise your hand, but Senator Zacharias, it was your amendment, so you have the right to speak first if you so choose.
So again, from what everyone said, not every student gets to use the credit no credit system that was proposed. And also the credit no credit system still makes it so 70 and above is what a student has to have. And I just think that this would be more lenient. It would let it so that 50 and above is passing for a lot of the students who are deeply affected by this pandemic, as well as making it so that we have actual letter grades, which many students desperately need. So that's why I proposed this.
Thank you, Senator Zacharias. Is there anyone else wishing to debate on this motion at this time? Senator Webb.
I just had kind of like a question for the author of the amendment, if that's allowed.
Find their name. Where'd you go, Kristen? There you go. Go for it.
Have you contacted anybody in Faculty Senate or brought this up with anyone to discuss this with them?
I have discussed it with some academic advisors. I primarily asked how many students are actually going to be able to use this. I don't currently have the reply on me, but it wasn't, I feel like even if a small percentage can't use the proposal that the faculty senate came up with, that's just sad. I haven't been able to reach to anyone in the faculty senate, unfortunately though. No, I have not.
Senator Webb, do you have a debate to go with that question?
No.
Senator Thomas.
Okay, I have a question for the author of this amendment. Will this be opt-in or opt-out, being modeled by the Kansas State University policy that's lined below it?
So I don't think it would be opt-in or opt-out. If you had a 75 and that could count as a B, I don't know any student who would opt out and get a C instead. If you want to propose and amend it so it can do that, then we can do that. And I forgot one slight piece to this to add for those currently enrolled in the spring 2020 semester. Someone just brought that to my attention. This would only be for this spring semester.
I don't think you necessarily need to add that because the bill already says for spring 20.
Okay, got it. Sorry.
So yeah, I would concur with that one. Any other points of debate on the motion at hand, which is to amend these lines as shown on your screen? Seeing no further debate, we'll move into the vote on this item, which is the amendment to line 18. All those in favor of this amendment, please click yes. All opposed, no. Any abstentions, go slower. Seeing all votes cast, the amendment to line 18 has passed with receiving 22 in favor, 0 against, and 8 abstentions. And so that will be amended as such, and we'll move back into discussion on the resolution itself. Does anybody have a debate on this resolution? Senator Sanchez.
With the motion to adopt by unanimous consent.
If you do object to adopting this, please click no now. There has been an objection, so we cannot adopt it by unanimous consent. So we'll move into voting period and cast our votes accordingly. If you are in favor of this resolution as it has been amended, please click yes. If you are opposed, no. If you would wish to abstain, go slower. Seeing all votes cast, resolution 12, it does pass its simple majority requirement, receiving a total of 20 in favor, 3 against, and 7 abstentions.
Michael, I think Katrina wants to speak.
President Miller.
Okay, so I know you just took the vote, but within that bill, it says that with that amendment that K-State is using that grading scale, but they're not. So the whole references to K-State are now incorrect. K-State is doing an opt-in pass-fail.
You're talking
So
about the item we amended, correct?
just within that bill, whoever had it up, can they pull it up again so I can look at it? Okay, so like in line 22, that policy isn't being used at K-State. What it originally said before the amendment of the recommending a pass-fail, that's what K-State was using, but now with that amendment, this is incorrect.
Senator James?
Two things. One, are we allowed to vote, to like change it even though we already voted on it?
Yeah, there is a way for us to do it. I'm trying to find the actual motion to do it.
Because if we are, I have a motion to make.
Isn't that something like a motion to reconsider?
Yeah.
So motion to reconsider the previous question.
Yeah. So I was going to do, like, if there are no objections with that new information, we'll go back in for discussions about you removing that item or altering it so that the information is correct. So let me clear this. There is an objection for us to reconsider this item. Please click no now. Otherwise, we'll vote on it. Seeing no objections, we'll go ahead and reconsider this item. So if you can pull it back up, and Senator James, you had what you wanted to change on it?
Yeah, just to strike line 25 through, I mean, not 25, line 21 through 24.
Does require a second. Senator Ezel with the second. And then it is your motion, so you have the right to debate first if you would like. Unless you got muted. Where'd you go, Senator James?
I don't have a debate. I yield my time.
Senator Thomas.
I just wanted to clarify briefly, taking out lines through 21 through 24, does this mean that it will not be an opt-in, opt-out nature as a previous senator sentimented?
Based off of how it currently is written, that would be correct because there's no other language that said opt-in or opt-out anywhere in the resolution.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mute. Is there anyone else wishing to debate on this amendment? Seeing none, we'll now vote on this amendment. All in favor, please click yes. All opposed, no. Any abstentions, go slower. Receiving a total of 21 in favor, 1 against, and 8 abstentions. This item will be amended as such. And since we are reconsidering, we're now moving back into debate on the item as a whole. Is there anyone wishing to debate on this item? Seeing none, we'll now move into the voting period. All those in favor, please click yes. Opposed, no. Any abstentions, go slower. Seeing no further adjustments in the votes, this does pass, receiving a total of 17 in favor, 4 against, and 9 abstentions. And that'll close us out of unfinished business. We'll now move into section 11, new business. Item A, SB-62-119, Emeritus status for Senator Walter Wright. Does the author wish to speak to this? Where are you, Lucas? Senator Webb.
Yes. Former Senator Mattson and I got together, and she had actually started on this bill a while ago, and so I just added a few things to it, which is why she's at the top, because she wrote most of it. And we just wanted to commend, I guess now former Senator Walter Wright on all of his service to the university. He's been the yin to my yang for the past 2 years on Student Fees Committee, and there's no other person that I would rather work with on that committee. I think in terms of the people I know who are senators, he has the most guts to voice his personal opinions, even when they aren't the most popular, and I admire him for that. So I would encourage all of you to vote in favor of bestowing this status to him.
Treasurer Osterman, as a co-author, do you have anything else to add to this?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
No
Can you hear me? I'm good.
Yes.
Yeah. Walter did a great job. That's all. He was wonderful on the Student Fees Committee. So.
All right, so I'm going to leave both of you unmuted, but I'm going to open the floor to questions, if there are any. Does anybody have a question for these authors? All right, seeing none, we'll move into debate. Does anyone have, excuse me, is there anyone wishing to debate at this time? Senator Webb.
The motion to adopt by unanimous consent.
All right. If there is an objection to adopting this with unanimous consent, please click no now. Seeing no objection, SB-62-119 shall be adopted with unanimous consent of the Senate.
I'm clapping for everybody.
With that, that'll bring us to item B, SB-62-120, Emeritus status for Senator Lucas Webb. If I remember correctly, that was Senator Zacharias. So, as the author, do you wish to speak to this bill?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So I wrote this bill because Senator Webb has been a ideal role model for a senator since I have been in SGA. I look up to him, and I think that he, if anyone, is one of the most deserving people of this recognition. I know he's advocated for students in multiple different committees, and he's also been a great resource for senators.
Thank you, Senator Zacharias. Gabe, I think it was line 14 I saw there was a grammatical error where it's 62nd, but the ND is upward. So for visual standards, we can't have that. So if you could correct that, please. Thank you. With that, are there any questions for the author? Seeing none, I'll open the floor for debate if there is any on this item. Senator Mouse.
I move to pass this bill by unanimous consent of the Senate.
So if there is an objection to passing this, please click no now. Seeing no objection, SB-62-120 has been adopted with unanimous consent of the Senate. That'll bring us into item C, SB-62-121, Emeritus status for Senator Matt Madden. I believe, again, the author is Senator Zacharias, if I'm not mistaken. Senator Zacharias, you have the floor.
I am outside, and there are police sirens, so I apologize in advance. Firstly, I wrote this bill because Matt has been a great leader, and he has not only taught myself, but multiple other people in leadership how to write legislation. And I wanted to take the time to write this for him because he took the time to teach us how to be the best senators possible. And that is all I have.
All right. Thank you, Senator Zacharias. Are there any questions? Hold on. If it'll let me unmute you, I'll get to you. Hold on. Senator Lepetsky, you have a question for the author?
Nope, I'm not sure why that was on there. Oh, it was for Lucas's second. I'm so sorry, guys. I keep forgetting to press that button.
That's quite all right. Are there any questions for the author before we move into debate? Seeing none, we'll now move into debate on the emeritus status for Senator Matt Madden. Is there anyone wishing to speak in debate? Senator Thomas.
With a motion to adopt by unanimous consent.
If you would like to object to this being passed with unanimous consent, please click no now. Seeing none, SB-62-121 has passed with unanimous consent of the Senate. We'll move now into item D, SB-62-122, Emeritus status for Treasurer Colleen Osterman. If I remember the author correct, it would be President Miller. So,
Okay.
President Miller.
Yes. So I just wanted to write this for Colleen. She has been such an amazing treasurer and cabinet member throughout this past session. It was really great working with her. She knew absolutely nothing about SGA when she first came, but then she, took the time and really just dove deep into, the association's budgets and just what SGA is in general. And she has excelled in so many different ways. And I have just really appreciated getting to work with her and commend her for all of the amazing work that she's done as treasurer within, the association, the student fees committee, and with the university in general. That's all I have.
All right, so the way I'm going to do this for any of the other authors that are up there, if you would like to comment on this, raise your hand, and that way I don't have to come to you, ask you, and come back. So that would be Chief Short, if you had something you wanted to add to this, and Director Haas. I would, but I believe the president covered everything I would have said. Seeing no additional hands, we'll now move to questions. If there are any questions about it, please raise your hand now. Seeing no questions, we'll move into the debating period. Is there anyone wishing to speak in debate on this item? Senator Majors.
With a motion to adopt by unanimous consent.
It has been so motioned. If you would like to object and have us cast an actual vote, please click no now. All right, seeing no objections, SB-62-122 has been adopted with unanimous consent of the Senate. And seeing as the next item concerns myself, I'm going to go ahead and yield to the President pro tempore of the Senate, which is Lucas Webb, so that they can officiate that particular item to eliminate any conflict of interest. So let me find Lucas here.
I got him.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I'm caught off guard.
No, welcome to it, buddy. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it.
Okay. Okay, sorry if I get something wrong. So SB-62-123, Emeritus status for student body vice president Michael Berth. Would the author like to speak to this bill?
Go ahead, Katrina.
Okay. So Michael, oh my gosh, I am so thankful for you. Michael has done an amazing job, not only within this session, but also within every other session that he has served in. Michael, truly, whenever he is in SGA, he dedicates himself 110% to the students. And that's something very rare that you see within the association. And every single time he's in the office or is working on a project or whatever, he always goes above and beyond. And Michael, you've really become one of my closest friends, and I appreciate all the work that you've done this past session, not only helping me out, but also for the association as a whole. Yeah, that's all I have.
All right, if any of the other authors would also like to speak, they can raise their hand. I don't see any. So seeing none, we can move into the questioning period. Does anybody have any questions for any of the authors? Senator Ratcliffe.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt with unanimous consent of the committee.
So we're still in the questioning period, but I will come to you when we get to the debate.
Apologies.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Seeing none, we can move into the debate period. Senator Radcliffe, you had a motion.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to adopt by unanimous consent of the committee.
Okay. Are there any objections? If so, click no. Seeing none, SB-62-123 is adopted with unanimous consent of the Senate.
Thank you, Senator Wood, for taking over there, and thank all of you for doing that. I'll save that to the next section. But seeing as there is no further new business, unless somebody has something to add to the agenda before we move forward. Seeing none, we'll move into section 12, remarks and announcements. Is there anyone with a remark or an announcement? I'll save mine to the end. Senator Zacharias.
I'll even turn my video on for you guys. Okay, so I just wanted to thank everyone that was in the 60-second session. If you're in the Zoom meeting right now, or if you might watch this on YouTube, doubt it. But thank everyone who was in the session. I made such good connections with a lot of the senators and a lot of the leaders who were in this. And I know that our time was cut short. A lot of the initiatives and stuff that my committee in particular wanted to do were not able to happen, but I still want to thank you, because that should not make anything else that you did in the rest of the session any less remarkable. So I just wanted to thank all of you, and especially the people in my committee, because I love you guys. So yeah.
Advisor Loosely.
Hi, folks. I can't even see. So I just wanted to say that it's been a pleasure, and really have enjoyed working with this session. I love your all passion, and that's one thing that I think is great about advising SGA, is we have so many passionate leaders who want and advocate for students. And I see as you post on Facebook asking for students' opinions and reach out to them, I think you represent your fellow student body well. So thank you for all that you have done this past session. We're excited for the next session, but thank you so much for your work. And I know it didn't end as well or as what maybe we all expected, but I think you've all done a great job. So I just wanted to say kudos to all of you, since we can't celebrate together, but just wanted to give a shout out to each and every one of you for all that you've done over this last year. So thank you.
Senator Mounts.
I'd like to say thank you to everybody in the 60-second session as well. I think that we did some great work, both kind of internally and also for the student body. I look forward to those who are joining us next year in the 63rd session as well, working together. I know it's going to be a little bit hard considering everything that's going on right now and having to maybe do meetings over Zoom as well. But yeah, I appreciate working with all of you, and I especially want to reach out to President Miller and President of the Senate Berth, that I just want to thank both of you for your leadership during this time and during this session. And I want to just extend a direct thank you to both of you. So thank you all.
Treasurer Osterman.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to say it was a pleasure and an honor to serve with all of you. And I didn't know anyone when I came here, but you all embraced me, and you all were so kind and wonderfully sweet and helpful. And thank you to my committee. You guys sat through a lot of really long, tiresome meetings, but you did a great job, and I couldn't be more proud of all the work that you did. So.
Senator Thomas.
Hey, I'm going to be just like everyone else. And I wanted to say thank you to the entire Senate for helping me get adjusted, seeing as I joined pretty late into the session. So I wanted to thank all of you that helped me. And I wanted to especially thank President Miller and Vice President Barth for helping get me adjusted and teach me how to be a good senator. And I also wanted to thank specifically Senator and President-elect Risha Khan for helping me with getting adjusted to a committee and just being an all-around nice person and helping me get adjusted. So thank you all.
Senator Khan.
All right. So hello, everyone. First of all, I'm really, really upset that we cannot see each other. And honestly, it would have been great to spend these last few moments where I'm still a senator with you all. And obviously, thank you to Nate. You know, having you was awesome and teaching you some of this stuff. I mean, I will definitely continue doing that. So that was also great. But, you know, the pandemic, it's difficult. Take care of yourselves. And also, like, I just want to say that I started off as a freshman senator, then I became the liberal arts and sciences senator. And that experience itself, it is so rewarding and it is so good that even the good and the bad, both is equal in my memories because it gave me really good experience and with the most wonderful people in this association. And so thank you to each and every single one of you for making these past few years of my life amazing and the most memorable. And I love the Senate no matter what. Even though I'm moving on, I just want to tell you, I love you all in the Senate a lot more than you would ever know. So keep on doing the amazing work you all do and stay safe.
Senator Zacharias.
I'll turn my video on again. Okay, so I probably shouldn't say this. I don't know how many saw it on the Facebook and other social media platforms, but I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Risha Khan, our Senator of the Year. I don't know, well, I do, but I think you deserve this award so much, and I love you, and I can't wait to see what you take from your hard work in the Senate to your hard work in the cabinet. So I think we should all give a round to Risha Khan for our Senator of the Year.
Dr. Austin.
Well, most of the time you all see me and I'm in a suit. So I feel bad that Michael has outdressed me this time. But for Senator Zacharias and for Senator Sanchez, that is a Garden City Buffaloes sweatshirt because I'm representing real Southwest Kansas.
Oh gosh.
I would like to go ahead and say though, at the beginning of each year, I tell the Senate and the exec team as well what a hard job you have and how difficult this can be. And while I never have a pandemic in mind when I say that, each year it turns out to be relatively true. So I thank you in advance for those of you who are returning. And I want to thank all of you for all the hard work that you've done this year. Things are always tough in their own way. You've been able to balance all of these challenges in a way that is incredibly respectful of the process. And what's very important to me, respectful of each other. Even when you have disagreements, I think we've been able to move forward in a way that demonstrates maturity and professionalism and the fact that you take your role seriously. So that's incredibly important for me. So thank you again. As our president-elect mentioned, it'd be great to be able to say this to you in person and to shake your hand and to tell you thanks. But please know that it is a heartfelt message from here in my basement in Derby, Kansas, that I really do appreciate all of the work all of you do to help move this body and hopefully move our institution forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Austin. Senator Munson.
Yeah, I want to echo everyone saying. Thank you for all your guys' hard work. But secondly, for me personally, I guess on Gabriel's behalf as well, thank you for all the volunteers for the Soccer Sport Locker from Senators. A lot of you have put in unpaid hours to that place, and it's we're very thankful for that. So yeah, thank you very much.
Senator Cowden.
Okay, yeah, I would like to congratulate and thank everyone for everything they've done this year. I'd also like to thank everyone for sticking with me as I learned the role of not only business senator, but also academic chair. It's been a great and productive year, and I really appreciate it, so thank you.
Senator Ezell.
Hey guys, it's the last meeting, and I just want to say that like joining SGA was like best choice I ever made this academic year, and I've learned so much from all of you. And I'd just like to give a few shout outs. One to Ridja Khan for teaching me so much about Senate and for taking me under her wing, especially when I felt lost. I want to thank Ella and Rachel for being like my closest friends through this journey. I want to give a shout out to Lindsay Smith for reporting on this for the Sunflower. It's a very hard and sometimes thankless job. I want to give a shout out to the Ways and Means Committee for being like my favorite group of people on the planet. I want to say thank you, Katrina, for always being kind. Gabe, thank you for always giving me hugs in the Senate suite when I needed it. And Michael, thank you for just being a great vice president and leading us through this ordeal. And also, Kathleen, I love you.
Senator Castillo.
I just wanted to kind of echo some of the thoughts that some of the senators said. This was my first year as a senator, and I learned a lot, and I'm really thankful for all of like the growth that I got from Student Senate. So just to make it short, like every person on Senate really taught me something. So I'm really grateful just to have served the student body through this session. And another thing that I wanted to share was of a scholarship opportunity that SAS does every year. It's the Amy Montgomery Scholarship. So I'm going to send the link in the chat. It's due May 13th at 5 p.m., I believe. So if you know anyone who would benefit from the scholarship or you yourself would benefit from the scholarship, please feel free to apply for that.
Treasurer Osterman.
All right, so really quickly, also shout out to Gabe and Nancy for being fabulous advisors, and also to Dr. Austin for advising the Supreme Court, and then to Colin for all of his hard work on the Soccer Sport Locker, all the Soccer Sport Locker volunteers, and to Terry Hall for all of her hard work that she did for the cabinet. So thank you guys. You all did a wonderful job this year, and we're really blessed to have you.
Senator Webb.
I wanted to say thank you to Senator Zacharias for the very kind words earlier in the meeting. And also to both of our advisors, Lucy and Gabe, for always being bright faces in the Senate suite and for always leading us, giving us advice, but ultimately letting us make our own decisions too. You guys have been wonderful advisors for the past few years.
Chief Short.
Same as everyone else. Thank you. I came in kind of late. Not sure if I would get myself involved in SGA again. And here I am about to go into the 63rd session as a senator-elect. And yeah, just thank you guys for everything, I guess. I'm obviously bummed, like many of you are, that this can't be an in-person, thing. And obviously I've been missing all of you for the last like month. But yeah, thank you so much for trusting me. Obviously I didn't get as much done as I had hoped to, but you know, what can you do? So yeah, thank you. You all made my time as chief really fantastic. So I appreciate you all. Stay safe.
Senator Spencer.
Sorry. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to give a couple of shout outs. I wanted to shout out first and foremost to Katrina Miller. And I just really appreciate you. I appreciate your leadership, and I, just appreciate you and your decisions. And I just wanted to give you a special thank you for just being a role model for these senators to look up to, and just a hard worker. I also want to give out a shout out to our new president, Dr. Richard Kahn. I absolutely love you so much with my whole heart. And I just wanted to thank you for really guiding me and being such a wonderful mentor to me. It really meant a lot. And shout out to Hannah and Ella, love you both. And then I just wanted to thank all of you who are on here. And I just want to thank I just wanted to thank all of you for your true dedication to the 60-second session, and stayed for this entirety of the meeting. So yeah, I hope to see you all very, very soon.
Senator Lipetsky.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys for supporting me through my personal journey through student government, starting with Chief of Operations, and being able to work with Cabinet and work closely with Gabriel and Nancy was a pleasure, and has become a new expansion of my support system. And so I really appreciate that. But also letting me stay into student government to see how everything works, and trusting me with that. And I just really appreciate each and every one of you guys. So I wish we were in person as well, so I could give you guys hugs. But I just wanted to say that, so thank you guys.
All right. Is there any other remark or announcements? Gabe, I know you have one and I have one as well. So if there are none, we'll get to mine and then we'll go to yours so you can have the last word, Gabe. All right, seeing no other, I'm also going to echo all the thanks and praises, not just for all of you who are here currently in this video chat, but also those who couldn't be here due to circumstances, and also those who may have joined and then later remove themselves from this session. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve with all of you and work with you on various projects. This session has done some pretty great things and has spent a good deal of time addressing some concerns that I've heard from the student body, from senators, from previous cabinet members about how the association operates, what it chooses to do for students, and how it represents them at every level. So that goes out to the Supreme Court, the executives, the legislators, everybody that is involved with this session. I think we did an outstanding job taking a good look at why it is we do what we do and how we do it, and making the best choices moving forward so that we're preparing the 63rd and future sessions to be able to operate efficiently and effectively for future student bodies to come. Oh, that sounds a little weird, student bodies, but you know what I'm saying. I'd also like to thank each of you, obviously, for voting to grant me Emeritus. I can't say what a great honor that is. That's about all I can say about that one. But I think each of you did some great work there were a few that stood out, like Jacob Tubach, when really going to bat and getting the crosswalk put in place. There are a lot of times where people were concerned to get a little pushback and then it kind of dies off. So I want to thank you as well as the Committee on Safety and Student Services for really fighting and actually getting that accomplished. Yeah. Thank you all. Gabe, you have the floor.
Yeah. So a year ago, I challenged all of you to think about the legacy you would leave behind for the student government. And you know, even though we say we're the 62nd session, the student government has existed on campus for about 108 years. And so one of the things that we try to do with this election season was to really talk about the history of the organization and the impact that it's been able to have on campus. I say this every single year we wrap up a session of the student government, but I am extremely, extremely, extremely thankful and grateful for the work that each and every one of you have put into the organization. From our longest meeting, which was our first meeting, when we didn't get done till like almost 11:30, to even some of our shortest ones. Every single thing that each of you brought to the table has been truly in an effort of doing the work of the people. And I know I joke about that a lot, but that's truly what this effort is. It's this idea of how do we take the voices of 16,000 students and how do we condense it into a mechanism which allows us to fundamentally represent them. So thank you, each of you, again for that, and echoing everything that Dr. Austin shared and that Nancy shared. We are extremely grateful for the work that each of you have put into your roles. It's easy to come into this position and think we can't get anything done, we're not going to do anything. And then thankfully at the end of the cycle, you get to see the impact that many of you have on campus. So thank you. For those who have expired their times with the student government, serving all 4 years in some capacity, thank you for your longevity of service to the organization. That's extremely important to see people come back year after year to continue to do, the work of the people. Thank you to Katrina and Michael. The two of you had your work cut out for you. And so I appreciate the work that the both of you have been able to do on behalf of this organization and on behalf of the students and things that not everyone gets to see. So thank you for giving up probably hundreds and if not thousands of hours to the student government to ensure that that their voices are heard at every single level of this university. So thank you for that. To all of our people who joined the organization for the first time, thank you for being willing to do so. And hopefully you'll continue to do that as well. Probably the second hardest job in the organization is that of student advocate. And so Josie, thank you for the amazing work that you've been able to do in your role and really defending students on campus and being creative in the way that you do that. So thank you for, again, probably having the suckiest job, but the most impactful job on campus, and especially with the student government. Hopefully you don't regret making the decision to step into that role. So thank you as well. Of course, to our brand new president-elect and vice president-elect, I look forward to working with you all in the next session and hopefully that, again, taking on this idea of the legacy that we're building for the organization as well. And then to Odalis, thank you for, and congratulations on your Chief Justice position. I'm sure that you are going to do amazing work in that capacity. So thank you, and again, congrats. And also I want to echo, I don't know who said it earlier, but Lindsay Smith, thank you for being there, reporting on the student government the whole time. Sometimes it's like, what in the world is going on? But thank you for being there, even in person, and then joining us on our Zoom calls. And thank you for representing the Sunflower well. We really do appreciate it. So that's all I really have to say. Again, I'm extremely grateful and thankful for all the work that each of you have done. And thank you for the service to the student body. And let's continue to do the work of the people in whatever capacity that looks like for us.
Thank you, Advisor Fonseca. If there are, I'll make a last call for any remarks or announcement.
Josie had one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, thanks, Gabe, for the shout out. I really appreciate it. I've had the honor of serving this year, and I wrote it all in my transition guide, mostly to whoever may take this position next. But I've enjoyed every element of it. It's a lot, but I definitely encourage whoever may be sticking through to the next session to really connect with the student advocate next session and really learn on a deeper, different level about what students are experiencing. And I think I've learned that. So I'm really appreciative for you all for electing me, I guess, approving me after being appointed. So it's been a good ride. And thank you all for allowing me to serve this year. I've really loved it.
All right. Any last remarks or announcements? Seeing none, we'll now move into section 13, which is final roll call. But I'm going to close this out with a silent roll, so I'm not going to call anybody out and go that route. But with this being our last, we got a fancy little sign out that we're going to do. So with the transition period in effect, and by the authority vested in me by the Constitution, I hereby adjourn, sign D, and close the 60-second session at 8:20 p.m. Thank all of you so much for your service, all of you joining us via video and watching and spending your time in confinement with us and throughout the session itself. Stay safe.
Yay!
8:20.